Welcome to the Knitting Samurai and Her Guys video podcast. I'm your host, Steph, also known as the Knitting Samurai, and this is episode 144. I don't know a name yet. How have you been? What's been going on with you? It's been just about 10 days, almost 10 days since we last spoke, and I feel like I have knit the world. Like, so much knitting has been accomplished. It's amazing to me. So I think Linus is going to join me, and we'll talk about some knitting and some exciting news that's going on in my life right now. And that's it, I think. I will warn you that Ro is homesick from school today. So I'm with him, and he is stretched out on my bed taking a nap. So if he wakes up, I may see him down here. You may see him as well. It was funny, this morning he wanted to go for a walk. So we went down to, he calls it the pond or the ocean, but really it's just a tidal river near our house. So we walked all the way down there, and he was all about it. And then on the walk home, he was dragging behind me. You know, you think of, at least I was thinking of a little dog, you know, struggling to keep up. But we made it back home, and he's all stretched out taking a nap now. So that's good. Just what he needs, right? Right, Lion? All right, so first up, well, you want to talk about what I'm working on right here? This is my sock blank sock. So here's what I have left so far. I love seeing the so far part. This is Gail's Art. Let me get this in a better place. There we go. This is Gail's Art Secret Sock Blank in the Christmas tree colorway. And I want to say I've done a third of it probably so far knit up, and this is what it looks like. I am doing a toe up sock with 2x2 rib on the top, and I'm trying something different. I did the boxed heel, which is by Janelle Rockwell. I'm using US size 0s, 2mm needles, and sock looks really pretty. I did end up with a white heel, which I did not want, but I also didn't want to mess around too much with color management, so I just left it. I think, so a couple things here. First, I will say that knitting with the previously knit yarn is difficult for me. So sock knitting is something that I do mindlessly. I do it, something's going on outside, trash. I do it in the dark. I occasionally glance down. I do it while watching a movie. I occasionally glance down at my needles, but more, I would say 95% of my sock knitting time is spent not looking and letting my fingers, I generally know, I have it in my mind, 2x2 rib, what that should feel like, and my fingers just go along and do the knitting, and I don't think about it. With these, because of the crinkled yarn, I have made more mistakes. It's like my fingers don't know quite how to identify the lumps or the bumps that they're feeling. And so I end up purling, getting one stitch off and doing a whole row that way. And then I end up picking back. And this morning when Ro and I went for our walk together, I brought this, and I had, you know, my fat squirrel bag here, and I was wearing it on my wrist and knitting as we walked, and I had to rip back like 3 times because my fingers I just kept doing the wrong thing. So this project is a bit more mindful than I typically like my sock knitting to be. So there's that about these. The other thing about this boxed heel, so let me preface and say that this is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I've knit a lot of toe-up socks. I'm very happy with a slip-stitched heel. It fits me fine. And short row heels work fine for me. Fish Lips Kiss heel works better than a short row heel, I should say. A short row is a little less snug fitting. The Capbordy Riverbed construction, where you do increases along the bottom of the foot and make a cup that sticks out from the bottom, those fit me great. Those are actually probably some of my favorites. I should go back to knitting that style of increases just because they're pretty and I like them and they fit really well. But So this boxy heel, I wanted to try it because it gives you this Y looking set of increases and decreases that you see on like commercial knit socks. Usually the heels have this fork in them. And so this sock pattern was designed that way, the boxy heel. And so you can see how it looks from the side. I did not, and then it ends up being like a little box. So I did not knit this perfectly. I got a couple stitches off, so you know, my bad there. I wasn't gonna go back. I tried it on, it fit well enough, but I have holes on my sides, which is never a problem for me. Yep, I have 2 holes from the wrap and turns, and I think at one point you end up wrapping and turning like, you end up knitting 3 or 4 wraps together at a time, which is a lot. It's very bulky. So yeah, I think if I had been a little more critical after I finished it and less curious, more, you know, thinking about the wearing aspect, I would not have finished. I would have ripped it back and done just a fish lips kiss heel at that point. But I persevered and I kept going and thought, okay, well, I'll do the second one the way I would like it to fit instead of this, and I'll leave this. But now that I'm looking at it, there are holes, and I'm about 2.5 inches past the heel. So I'm gonna have to go back in and darn those 2 points. So I'm not a fan of this boxed heel pattern. I think that for me, a short row heel works fine, works better than this, and the slip stitch with garter increases on the side worked up. That works 10 times better than this. So that's my opinion on that. Yeah, I would probably give this, because it's really messy looking. As I said, I got off in the stitch count. It was not easy to do, which the first time I did a fish lips kiss heel, I had a really hard time doing it too, but it didn't look bad. You know, this looks like very chunky, but you know what? It could be me. Your mileage may vary. You should definitely try it out if you're interested. I will say that my first, some color work I was working on this week also, it doesn't look all that great. So I don't know, maybe my knitting skills are in a rocky spot right now. But so that's this. This is my Christmas tree stock. I also, when I did the foot, so I would normally start a heel or put in waist yarn for an afterthought heel at 9 inches. I wear a size 11. And I like my socks snug. I like a lot of negative ease because that's what I'm used to wearing. So, but I think I started the heel at 8.5, just because look at this. I mean, they have a lot of given them just from having the yarn previously be knit previously. So I took that risk too, and they seem fine. So I'm still working on them. They're going to be finished, but I'm just not in love with this project. So I will tell you that working on these brought me to knitting another pair of socks. So you want to see them? Okay. So these are some very neon bright socks that I have had in hibernation probably for 3 months, 4 months, a while since I said, okay, that's enough socks. I don't want to knit socks anymore. We last Saturday went out to dinner with, are you kidding me? Yep. I have a split stitch way down here, and I have a purl stitch here. Yeah, I think my knitting's just having a hard time. We went out to dinner with some friends, had a really good time together, and dinner and drinks, and I was just knitting. So I brought these because I needed to turn the heel on the Christmas socks, and I was way down, like here. I probably had 4 inches knit on this, so I brought these just to have something to knit. And in the restaurant we went to, it was an Irish pub. Really great food and drinks, but there's like one big window, and it's in the restaurant, and it's kind of on a stage, and so we were out early because we have small children, and they do too, so dinner is early. And and they actually sat us there. So I was the one closest to the window, and I was sitting there knitting under the table. I'm sure I did not help bring in traffic for them. Yeah, that's such a cool bar. People knit in it. Maybe not. Maybe there were knitters. I will tell you that this morning when Ro and I were walking, there was a lady who was just like, she drove by us and she was beaming, all smiles, watching me knit while I walk. So I don't know if she thought Ro and I were cute talking and we were looking at the trees and stuff, or if she was just like, yeah, Mom, get your knit on. So, okay. So those were the socks that I'm working on. But I'm so excited about something else. I just have to stop talking about knitting and share it with you. Will you indulge me? Okay, let's chat for a minute about what's going on. So first up, the intro changed, right? You saw that. The exit will be different as well, or the credits and credits. We took the boys and their Anders sweaters and headed to Odiorn State Park, which also has a big giant playground next to it, and that's the state park where Steve and I were married, and all those many years ago. And we brought the boys, and I snapped some pictures, and so I was really excited just to have some of the family for the show and for our Christmas card. So yay! It was definitely time for a new intro. I mean, Tristan is so different than he was a year ago at this time. So that's good news. The other good news is that we're under contract. I can hardly believe it. So we've been looking off and on real estate, right? We've been looking, not off and on. We have been looking, but not visiting, just looking at listings. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't even know how to say this. So we changed the area we were looking in, and this great foreclosure went on the market. It had been on the market, but it came on our radar that it was available for a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom Cape with a garage and potential to have a finished basement. And it went to auction. We won the auction. So we are now purchase and sales agreement, and the closing is set to happen on December 23rd. It has hardwood floors, and I think that's about the only thing in the house that we're keeping. So we have a construction loan, and we're basically gutting the inside and quite a bit of, well, not gutting the outside, but like the deck fell off the house, so we're building a new deck. And like the shrubbery is way overgrown, so we're cutting that back, but things like that, little things. Yeah, so we're gutting the house, and it's gonna be awesome. The boys, so right now we live in a 1,200 square foot condo, 2 bedrooms, and I didn't realize that we spend most of our living life right here in 350 square feet between the kitchen, dining room, and the living room. So this new place, I think, was 600 square feet, and that same floor plan in that same space. And then we have 2 bedrooms on the first floor, so one can be a boy playroom and one can be a mommy knitting room / daddy reading room, so that's great. As I said, we're going to finish the basement, so there'll be a place to send them down there to play. And then the upstairs in the Cape has 2 really big bedrooms, so one will be ours, one will be theirs. They're still going to share until they feel like they don't want to, but we'll really like sharing, or with Tristan. So I'm so excited. We're going to have all this space. We're going to have condo living right now. It's like you have your little piece of the backyard, but you worry about the noise and the neighbors. So we're not going to have that anymore. Boys, go out and run. There's about half of the lot is wooded. So Steve will get in there and make some trails, and we'll let the little guys run out there and play. And I'm going to have a big deck to sit on and knit, and there's a gorgeous front yard, and it's in a cul-de-sac with a nice neighborhood, and there's a couple basketball hoops on the road, and I want to say they were like 9 to 10, about that age, boys outside playing when I was driving through, because we've been there several times now. So it's going to be so exciting. So yeah, Merry Christmas to me, hopefully. It all works out. And then it's, the carpenter's going to start on January 2nd, and he thinks about 6 weeks. So early March, we'll be moving in, and then we will list the condo and sell it. Because trying to list it, this is what we realized, that trying to list it while we live in it with 2 boys, that just the crumbs after every meal. Like, moms out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's just the amount of cleaning I would have to do, and my stress level would be like way up here every morning trying to get out the door at the thought of someone coming to look at our place and trying to sell it and trying to sanitize it, take all our family pictures off the wall, and it was just going to be too much work. And some of the woodwork needs to be touched up, some of the white trim, hockey pucks. They take out chunks of paint, so we'll leave, and then hopefully it'll sell really quick, because these condos do tend to sell really fast. So yeah, it's exciting. And March, April time frame is a much better time to be listing our place to sell it than in November. So that's our exciting news, and I've been dying to gush about it. So now that I've gotten that out of my system, let's talk about what else I've been knitting, shall we? I finished the Anders sweater. This was the 5th one that I cast on. I knit the stitch count on the 12-month size, but the measurements on the 24-month size. This is by Soren Kerr is the name of the designer. I used Classic Elite Liberty wool to knit this, and the color is Pink Interruption 7842. Ask me how many times I've said that, because the camera has shut off on me. I'm really happy with this yarn. It's been wash blocked. It looks great the way it turned out. I think it's going to make a wonderful present. I would definitely knit with this again. It has a great hand feel on it. Only complaint I have is that it wasn't clear on the skein that this hot pink and green were part of the color. I thought I was getting a purple teal yarn, and that is definitely not what my eyes see when I look at the finished product. But it's really nice, and I think it's going to be a great little gift for Christmas. So yay! That's done. And when that one was finished, I finished my, I cast it on earlier than that one, but it's finally finished. So this is the 4th Anders sweater that I knit. It has not been washed or blocked, and no buttons and ends are hanging, but it's done. And this is knit to pattern, 100% following the pattern instructions. So it has that great color work that you are all so familiar with if you've seen more than one episode, one of the recent episodes anyways. And I used Louette Gems Sport Weight in the bright blue colorway. It's 100% superwash yarn, so it has a great squishy, soft quality about it. And the contrast color is Callback by Leading Men Fiber Arts is the base. That's also 100% superwash sport weight, and the color is Nude Scene for that. I can see, I'm sure you can see it too, that the sweater does go in, but my floats are really loose. All of them that I knit, the color work portion, even though I went up 2 needle sizes for the color work, they still do this gradual bowing in as you get more and more of as the percent of 2 strands per row increases. So up here it's just 1 stitch every 5 or something, and then down here it's 50-50 say, but it blocks out really easy just to get it straight, so that'll be no problem. And I'm so excited. I love this pattern. I would knit this all the time, except I don't think it would be very interesting for you if I just kept knitting these sweaters. So keeping on with the color work, but looking for a new pattern, I cast on a new sweater for Tristan that is called Save the Baby Whales, and that is by Sargentana. There's the pattern, and I wonder if that's a copyright on the photo. But anyway, so there it is. So color work again at the bottom of the sweater. I'm going to knit mine as a Henley, of course, because I like that construction instead of the cardigan. Fewer buttons. I'm not a fan of button bands, and it keeps their tummy a little warmer. So yeah, the day that the boys wore their sweaters for the photos, Ro took his sweater off as soon as we got home, and that's 100% superwash merino, right? The softest thing you can buy. And he couldn't get his off fast enough. Tristan wore his the rest of the day. And the sport weight versus the worsted weight, Ro was worsted, Tristan was sport. I would say the sport weight is a little bit softer than the worsted, but I also know that Roland can't get sweaters off him fast enough, so I've not knit him. Like, I knit him a couple sweaters a year, but he doesn't really wear them. He'll wear them 3 or 4 times each. He's not a big sweater guy. But the fact that Tristan chose to wear it all day and was very happy wearing it, didn't try and take it off, made me say, oh, maybe I'll knit him another sweater. So maybe he'll be my baby that wears sweaters. So I'm cast on with some Cascade 220 Heathers in the color 1910, which is Summer Sky Heather. I am using US 4s and 6s for this. Assuming, I can't remember, I started this at least a week ago, and I'm assuming that the larger needles are for the color work portion, although maybe the smaller needles are for the rib. That's what it is. Yeah. So I'm knitting the 2 to 3 year old size, so he'll wear it this winter. Maybe next winter, probably not. Although who knows, he's not growing as fast as Roland did. Like we have pictures of Roland wearing his mistletoe t-shirt when he was 14 months old. So like my time hop showed me this, right? Here's Roland in the mistletoe t-shirt. That's 2T, and he was 14 months old. Tristan is nowhere near big enough to wear that, and he's 18 months old. So they're different. They're both very large for their age, but Tristan is much thinner. He doesn't have the chub. So, and I remember Roland, all the pants I put on Roland had to be cuffed, because to get the waist big enough, the length was just not there, or he didn't have the length in his legs. And Tristan, everything fits him proportionally. For like the way the width of the waist is right for the length. So they're just different, but I am excited to be doing another color work project. So I think I'm going to open a thread on the group for a color work knit along. Join along if you want. You know, knit whatever you're knitting. Just share progress and photos. I'm going to continue to work on doing a color in each hand. So as the more of those sweaters I've knit, the better I've gotten at picking with the less dominant color. So, that's how the reason I do not remember all of the details exactly 100% on this. Oh, well, almost lastly, let me share this with you. So this is a Silver Shed USA project bag that has my Sesame Street on it. I haven't used this in a while, but Tristan's now at the age where Elmo is the bomb. So I thought it'd be fun to have this out and in the rotation. And this was my How Cold Is It? The colorwork mittens. I decided I didn't like them, so I frogged them. Simple enough. I was knitting them on size 4s. I don't know where my brain was when I cast on with 4s. The pattern calls for 2s, and they were a good 1.5 inches too big in the cuff, so it wasn't gonna work. So I frogged them, and I'm fully planning on casting them back on, but they're going to definitely take a back burner along with the sweater, because on Tuesday, this week, it occurred to me that Christmas is coming and I haven't started any Christmas knitting. So hammer down, time to think of something to do, because there are teachers, there are coworkers, there are bosses, there are Steve's family that we see at Thanksgiving. We don't exchange gifts with them, like the big extended family, but it is nice to get a little something every once in a while. I definitely don't do it every year, but I wanted to do something this year. And then there's my family, and there are friends, and like my best friend said, okay, only handmade gifts this year. We're not doing big gifts for each other, and that's fine. Okay. Her husband loves when I knit him socks. I'm not knitting him socks this year. But, so anyways, all that to say that I wanted to come up with something that was cute and was not infringing on people's fashion sense. So knitting them a cowl and expecting to see them wear it. I was kind of bummed out last year that I didn't see as many of my hand knits worn by the teachers and some of my coworkers. So I wanted to do something. I've done ornaments before. I did the snowball buddies 2 years ago. They were a huge hit. Everybody loved them. I did reindeer. I did Rudolph for my coworkers. Yeah, my coworkers all got Rudolphs and they loved them. Like everybody talks about them. And then last year Jamie did, she made reindeer with corkscrews and nails and glitter. I mean, they were pipe cleaner, like really cute reindeer. So I feel like, okay, it's my turn. I could do something this year, do another ornament for everybody. And so I found this glorious little pattern. So this is, did I write down the name of it? Oh my God. Well, see, I hadn't even started it when I wrote down my notes. Okay, it's I have it on Instagram. Oh. Pattern. I'll put it across the bottom of the screen. Anyway, so it's 3 Santa ornament patterns in one. I think it's $5 or $6 on Rev. Really well written patterns. I've knit 2 of the 3 ornaments already. This is my favorite one. It's the one that is kind of triangular shaped in his beard. You have some pipe cleaner at the top and at the bottom, so they're a little bit posable. It's really cute mustache. And I got some leather cord at, I started on Tuesday. Yes, okay. I got some leather cord, red cord at Joann's to put through to hang it from the tree. And I just think they're adorable. So this is fingering weight on size 0s, and he's that big. The pattern I think calls for worsted, so my guess is it would be that big. So I'm pleased with the size of this ornament. It could even be a little bit smaller and I'd be all right with that. And maybe the more I knit them, I'll get that down so I can shrink it a little bit. But really fun to knit, fun, quick little knit. Quick. They take about 4 hours each, and if I add up every one I want to knit one for, I need to knit about 30 of them. I just found my project bag, so I do want to quickly show you this, that I pulled out my Grinch bag. I don't remember what this is by. Oh, I don't remember, and I don't see a tag. Oh, right there. It's Stitched by Jessalo. But it's Grinch. Ro was looking at it the other night and was very excited to see it. But I wanted to show you that the 2 I'm working on right now, I'm doing 2 at a time because all the flipping back and forth, it's a little bit more efficient to do 2 at once. And this is the callback in fingering weight. And then this is Luette Gems in sport weight. And so you can see the difference in size of the ornaments themselves, even though they're both being knit on US size 0s. So I am enjoying that very much. So I just wanted to share that with you. And 9 of them need to be finished for Thanksgiving if I'm going to give them out. I've done 3, so I'm definitely under a deadline here. And I have the day off. And I like a deadline, so who knows? The pattern calls for pink yarn for his face, and I'm using some leftover, I think it's called Peach Cobbler by Aussie Sock that I had. I knit a pair of Cookie A socks with this yarn, and I had 2 little tiny balls left, and I've made 3 of them so far with that color. But I did place an order with Knit Picks, true confessions, I know. Yeah, because I wanted to get some sparkle white yarn and a little bit more red, because I don't have very much red. This red that I am using is Happy Feet. I don't know if you could see it. It's leftover Happy Feet cranberry, and it's definitely semi-solid. I love the highs and lows in this yarn. I knit myself a pair of socks. They were from Interweave, and they had zigzags. They're in like the favorite socks book. Anyways, and the socks are great. They wore really well. But this yarn, the highs and lows kind of make it look like that velour that, you know, Santa hats are made from. So I really like that part of it. This is some leftover of the callback from by Leading Men Fiber Arts that I have. So I'm just using up every little scrap, and I think it's a great stash buster if you have these colors. I went out this morning and I found a little pink that I have and some leftover. It's string theory caper sock. There it is. Merino cashmere, which I don't know if I want to use it for an ornament or if it's too pink. It might be too pink. But I have those, and I am churning and burning, and oh, there's a little bell that you sew on the top. So I think it's just a really nice touch, and 4 hours each is a bit of a commitment, but it's definitely something people have for years, and it makes them smile. So that's where I'm at with this. So I'm thinking that we are going up to my in-laws for Thanksgiving, and we're staying at the cottage. We're going up on Tuesday night after work. I know, we're taking Wednesday off, both of us, which is unheard of. We've never done that. And I'm thinking on Wednesday, I'm going to shoo everybody out of the cottage, and we're going to sit and talk, because that's part of my holiday. So I look forward to seeing you again from Maine. I guess I can set that down. And yeah, and if I don't, I won't get it published. It'll be after probably Saturday or Sunday before I get it up. So have a great Thanksgiving and enjoy November as much as you can, and don't stress out about Christmas knitting. Just leave that for me. I want to stress out. Oh, I'll talk to you soon. I hope your knitting's going well. Take care. Bye.